They yell, invade your space, threaten with body language. And what do? You freeze, you retreat, you submit. Every conflict, your body signals defeat before words even begin. Your nervous fidgeting broadcasts fear. Your broken eye contact screams vulnerability. Your backward steps invite further aggression. You've been conditioned to physically submit when challenged, because you were never taught that body language is the first and most decisive weapon in any conflict. Today, you learn ruthless body language that makes intimidation impossible, winning psychological warfare silently before physical confrontation becomes necessary. Right now, while you're reading this, someone is using intimidating body language to control you. At work, in relationships, in public spaces. They know that most people physically collapse under pressure, that nervous systems override rational thought when threatened, that bodies trained in submission will retreat automatically, and they're exploiting this ruthlessly. But conflict isn't won through escalated aggression. It's won through body language so unshakable that attacking you appears costly before the first move is made. Your presence becomes deterrent. Your stillness becomes dominance. Your physical signals end conflicts before they escalate. De-escalation body language is about safety and psychological defense, not aggression. Understanding conflict nonverbals allows protection while avoiding unnecessary physical confrontation. This isn't about becoming violent or seeking fights. This is about developing physical presence so secure that violence becomes unnecessary, because potential aggressors unconsciously calculate that attacking you carries unacceptable cost. Predators, human ones included, target prey that signals vulnerability. Remove vulnerability signals, and you remove yourself as target. This is protection through deterrence, defense through presence. I am Niccolo Machiavelli. In Chapter 14 of The Prince, I wrote, "A prince ought to have no other object or thought, but war and its rules and discipline." This applied not just to military preparation, but to psychological readiness. The ruler most prepared for conflict rarely faces it, because preparedness itself is deterrent. Potential aggressors calculate costs, and when costs appear high, aggression doesn't occur. Your body language in conflicts is this calculation made visible. Appear vulnerable and attackable, you invite aggression. Appear costly to engage, you prevent it. Modern conflict de-escalation research confirms what I observed 500 years ago. Most physical confrontations are preceded by body language exchanges, where dominance hierarchies are negotiated non-verbally. The person whose body language signals higher cost to engage usually wins without physical contact. Predator-prey dynamics research shows that prey animals displaying fight-back signals, grounded stance, direct gaze, non-retreat, are often bypassed for easier targets. Human conflicts operate identically. Aggressors target those whose body language signals easy victory. Martial arts psychology teaches that physical combat is last resort after psychological dominance fails. The fighter most confident in their capability to defend is least likely to need to, because their body language deters challenges. Your goal isn't to win fights. It's to make fighting you appear so costly that conflicts end before physical contact. This is Modo 4 wisdom. Power through presence that makes violence unnecessary. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My body language is my shield. I am impossible to intimidate. 1. Stance grounding. Impossible to move. The first principle is stance grounding, planting yourself physically so solidly that you appear immovable. Feet shoulder-width apart, weight evenly distributed, slight knee bend, center of gravity low. This grounded stance signals unconsciously. Moving me requires significant force. Attacking me encounters resistance. Grounded stance is physical deterrent. Think about how you stand when threatened. Do you stand on heels ready to retreat? Do you cross legs reducing stability? Do you shift weight nervously? Each signals physical vulnerability that invites aggression. Grounded stance does opposite. It signals rooted stability that makes engaging you appear physically costly. Here's grounding practice. Feet shoulder width apart. Weight through balls of feet, slight forward lean. Knees slightly bent, never locked. Core engaged. This athletic stance is same position fighters adopt because it's biomechanically strongest. Hardest to push, hardest to pull, fastest to respond from. When someone approaches aggressively, this grounding signals, I'm not moving, and moving me won't be easy. When you stand vulnerably, weight on heels, legs crossed, high center of gravity, aggressors unconsciously read, easy target, push them, and they'll fall or retreat. When you stand grounded, low center, wide base, rooted position, aggressors unconsciously calculate, high resistance, pushing this person encounters significant opposition. Most conflicts end at this calculation. Body language speaks to nervous system before conscious mind. Grounded stance speaks to aggressor's nervous system. Cost assessment, high. Alternative target assessment, recommended. This isn't conscious thought. It's automatic predator calculation about which prey is easiest. Practice grounding daily. Stand this way in elevators, at work, during any conversation where you need presence. The more habitual grounding becomes, the more automatically you deploy it when threatened. Your body adopts deterrent stance reflexively, ending intimidation attempts before they fully begin. I want you to drop this. I am grounded. I am immovable. I am costly to engage. 2. Predatory eye contact without aggression. The second principle is predatory eye contact, maintaining steady, evaluative gaze that assesses threat without aggressive staring. This is eye contact that studies rather than challenges, evaluates rather than escalates. Predatory gaze signals, I'm tracking you, I'm assessing you, I'm neither afraid nor aggressive, I'm calculating. Think about your eye contact when threatened. Do you look away nervously? Do you stare aggressively, escalating tension? Both are tactical errors. Looking away signals submission. Aggressive staring signals challenge that escalates. Predatory evaluation does neither. It maintains visual connection that signals awareness and readiness without provocation. Here's predatory gaze. Maintain eye contact, but not locked stare. Let your gaze move between their eyes, occasionally to their hands, body, threat assessment, then back to eyes. This tracking pattern communicates. I'm monitoring you tactically, not emotionally. It's evaluative, not emotional. Clinical, not reactive. When you break eye contact nervously, aggressors read submission. When you stare aggressively, you've issued challenge that may escalate unnecessarily. Predatory evaluation maintains visual connection that signals, I'm aware, I'm assessing. Attacking me requires getting past this awareness. Most people can't maintain aggression against someone calmly tracking them like threat assessment rather than emotional reaction. The key is removing emotion from gaze. Angry stare is aggressive. Fearful avoidance is submissive. Calm assessment is predatory. It signals you're in tactical mode, not emotional mode. Aggressors prefer emotional targets, easier to manipulate, over tactical targets, calculating and prepared. Practice this gaze in safe contexts. Maintain calm, evaluative eye contact during difficult conversations. Train your eyes to track without emotional loading, neither aggressive nor submissive, purely observational. This becomes your default in conflicts. Present, aware, evaluating, but not escalating. I want you to drop this. My gaze tracks, evaluates, never submits or escalates. 3. Ruthless spatial boundary enforcement. The third principle is ruthless spatial boundary enforcement, not retreating when someone invades your space. Most people automatically step back when their personal space is invaded. This retreat signals submission and invites further invasion. Holding ground ruthlessly signals, my space is enforced, you've reached boundary, further invasion meets resistance. Think about what you do when someone steps too close aggressively. Do you step back, creating distance? This automatic retreat is what aggressors count on. Each backward step signals their winning psychological battle. Stop retreating. Hold your ground ruthlessly. Make them uncomfortable with their invasion, not you uncomfortable enough to retreat. Here's boundary enforcement. Someone steps into your space aggressively. Instead of retreating, hold position. Maintain your grounded stance. Let silence and stillness communicate. This is my space. Your invasion has reached boundary. I'm not moving. Often, the invader becomes uncomfortable and steps back because their invasion didn't produce expected retreat. When you retreat from spatial invasion, you're teaching aggressor that invading your space works. When you hold ground ruthlessly, you're teaching that spatial invasion is costly. It doesn't produce retreat, and now they're uncomfortably close to someone who isn't backing down. This reverses psychological dynamic. The practice is progressive. Start in low-stakes situations, crowded subway, busy sidewalk. When someone invades space, hold ground instead of automatic accommodation. Build capacity to hold boundaries against increasing pressure until holding ground under aggressive invasion becomes reflexive. Most people have been trained that accommodating space invasion is polite. This training makes you vulnerable. Ruthless boundary enforcement isn't rude. It's self-protection that makes invading your space psychologically costly to aggressors. I want you to drop this. I hold my ground ruthlessly. My space is enforced. 4. Vocal tone, drop, not elevation. The fourth principle is vocal tone drop during conflicts, lowering your voice instead of raising it when tensions rise. Raised voice signals emotional activation and loss of control. Lowered voice signals authority and maintained composure. Drop your tone when others escalate and you've won psychological battle. Think about voice patterns during conflicts. Most people raise volume-matching escalation. This signals emotional reactivity and vulnerability. Others soften voice apologetically. This signals submission. Tactical voice drop does neither. It lowers tone deliberately, slowing pace, forcing others to strain to hear. This signals, I'm so controlled that escalation doesn't affect me. Here's tone dropping. Someone yells at you. Instead of matching volume or cowering, you deliberately lower your voice. Slow your pace. I understand you're upset. We can resolve this, but not at that volume. Your dropped tone forces choice. Either They lower to hear you, you've controlled interaction, or they continue yelling alone, exposing their loss of control while you maintained composure. When you raise voice-matching aggression, you've entered emotional state aggressor created. When you lower voice strategically, you refuse to enter that state and force aggressor to either join your calm or look foolish yelling at someone speaking quietly. Either outcome favors you. The dropped tone works because it signals to all observers. One person is controlled, one isn't. One is tactical, one is reactive. Witnesses unconsciously side with controlled party. Even aggressor's nervous system registers. This person isn't losing control. Continuing aggression may be costly. Practice tone dropping. When conversations heat up, deliberately lower volume and slow pace. Train voice to drop when emotions rise. This becomes reflexive. Stress triggers voice drop instead of elevation, immediately shifting psychological dynamic in your favor. I want you to drop this. My voice drops when others rise. I control tone ruthlessly. 5. Neutral tone, facial expression. The fifth principle is maintaining neutral tone facial expression. Neither reactive fear nor aggressive anger. Your face reveals nothing while processing everything. This neutral stone face is unreadable, giving opponents no emotional feedback to exploit or escalate against. Reactive faces invite manipulation. Stone faces end it. Think about your facial expressions during conflict. Do you show fear, inviting aggression? Anger, giving emotional leverage. Confusion, signaling vulnerability. Every emotional expression is information opponents use against you. Neutral stone face provides no information, no leverage, no emotional vulnerability to exploit. Here's stone face. Relax facial muscles completely. No tension in jaw, no furrowing brow, no emotional display. Your face is calm mask that reveals nothing about internal state. This unsettling absence of reaction makes opponents uncertain. They're escalating against someone who appears emotionally unmoved. When you display emotional reaction, opponents have feedback loop. My aggression is affecting them. Continue. When you maintain stone face, feedback loop breaks. My aggression isn't producing visible effect. Am I making impact, or am I hitting wall? This uncertainty typically de-escalates because aggressors need emotional reaction to justify continued aggression. The practice is facial muscle relaxation under stress. When you feel anger, fear, or any emotional activation, relax face deliberately. Let no expression leak through. This doesn't mean suppressing emotion internally. Feel everything fully. Just don't display it externally. Internal experience, external stone. Most people's faces broadcast every emotion, providing opponents constant tactical information. Strategic people master stone face that denies opponents emotional intelligence they'd use to manipulate or escalate. I want you to drop this. My face reveals nothing. Stone against all aggression. 6. Strategic stillness versus nervous movement. The sixth principle is strategic stillness, eliminating nervous movement that broadcasts anxiety. Fidgeting, shifting weight, unnecessary gestures all signal psychological discomfort that invites exploitation. Predatory stillness, controlled, minimal, deliberate movement, signals confidence and readiness that deters aggression. Think about your movement under stress. Do you fidget, shift weight, make nervous gestures? Every unnecessary movement broadcasts, I'm uncomfortable, I'm anxious, I'm vulnerable. Aggressors read this like neon sign. Target is psychologically destabilized, continue pressure. Here's strategic stillness. When conflict arrives, reduce movement to absolute minimum. Stand still, hands relaxed at sides or in neutral position, not defensive crossing, not aggressive pointing. No fidgeting, no shifting, no nervous energy release. Your stillness signals, I'm comfortable in this tension. Your aggression doesn't destabilize me. When you move nervously, you're displaying anxiety aggressor intended to create. When you maintain predatory stillness, you're refusing to display expected anxiety response. This breaks aggressor's script. They're escalating against someone who appears psychologically unmoved by their intimidation attempt. The contrast is powerful. Aggressor is animated, gesturing, moving with aggressive energy. You are still grounded minimal movement. Observers and aggressor's own nervous system read this as dominance indicator. The still one is controlled. The moving one is reactive. Stillness reads as power. Practice stillness in stressful situations, job interviews, difficult conversations, any high-pressure context. Train your body to stillness under stress until it becomes default response. When conflict arrives, your automatic response is predatory stillness that signals confidence and readiness. I want you to drop this. I am strategically still. No nervous movement reveals weakness. 7. Strategic positioning. Always, the 7th principle is strategic positioning. Always positioning yourself physically to maintain exit routes and tactical advantage. Never let yourself be cornered or positioned disadvantageously. Aware positioning signals. I maintain tactical awareness. I control my physical position. I'm not trapped. Think about your spatial awareness during conflicts. Do you let yourself get cornered? Do you position with your back to threats? Do you lose awareness of exits? Poor positioning signals tactical incompetence that invites exploitation. Strategic positioning signals tactical awareness that deters aggression. Here's strategic positioning. In any space, immediately identify exits and position where you can see threats approaching while maintaining escape routes. During conflicts, subtly position to keep exit routes open and avoid being cornered. This positioning isn't paranoia. It's basic tactical awareness that signals, I maintain spatial awareness. Surprising or trapping me won't be easy. When you allow poor positioning, cornered back to threats, no exit awareness, you've given tactical advantage to potential aggressors. When you maintain strategic positioning, exits identified, advantageous position held, spatial awareness maintained, you've kept tactical advantage. This advantage is visible through your positioning and scanning patterns. The positioning also provides real advantage if conflict escalates. You've maintained exits. You're positioned advantageously. You're not trapped. But more importantly, maintaining this positioning deters escalation because it signals tactical competence that makes attacking you appear more costly. Practice spatial awareness constantly. Enter rooms, identify exits, position advantageously. Make this automatic until strategic positioning becomes unconscious habit. In conflicts, your automatic positioning maintains tactical advantage while signaling awareness that deters aggression. I want you to drop this. I position strategically always. I maintain tactical advantage. You are no longer someone intimidated physically. You're not someone whose body language signals easy target. You're not someone who freezes, retreats, or submits when aggression arrives. You're not someone whose nervous movement, broken eye contact, and raised voice broadcast vulnerability, inviting exploitation. You are someone whose body language ends conflicts before escalation, whose grounded stance signals immovable resistance, whose predatory gaze tracks threats without emotional reactivity, whose ruthless boundary enforcement makes invading your space psychologically costly, whose dropped vocal tone maintains authority while others lose control, whose stone face provides no emotional leverage to exploit, whose strategic stillness signals confidence and readiness, whose positioning maintains tactical advantage always. Your presence signals to potential aggressors, attacking me is costly. I'm grounded, aware, controlled and prepared. Find easier target. This deterrence makes violence unnecessary because conflicts end at psychological dominance stage before physical engagement becomes necessary. Machiavelli taught that preparedness prevents war. Your body language preparedness prevents physical conflict through psychological deterrence. You're not seeking fights. You're making yourself costly enough to engage that fights don't seek you. This is Modo 4 Wisdom. Power through presence that protects without aggression. Drop this affirmation in the comments right now. My body language is my shield. I am impossible to intimidate. Conflicts end before they start. Subscribe to this channel because we're teaching physical presence as psychological defense. Like this video if you're ready to stop being intimidated and start ending conflicts through deterrent body language. Share it with someone who needs to understand that their body is their first and most powerful defense. Your body language was inviting intimidation. Today, it became shield that ends conflicts before they escalate through ruthless presence that makes attacking you appear too costly.